Speed. Why do we chase it? Why do we love it so much? Some say it's reckless and stupid. Some people would just never understand. As Burt Munro said, "You live more in 5 minutes on a bike like this going flat out than some people live in a lifetime." Howdy everyone. Osu minasan. Hola todo mundo. Welcome back to my Road to Pro docuseries. A lot of time has passed already since the last episode, so there will be quite a lot to cover in this episode. The question? Speed. Why do we chase it? And why do we love it so much? It's something much deeper than we realize. Something raw, primal, animalistic inside all of us. Most people don't know, but racing goes back as far as humans been documenting history. We always strive to be faster, stronger, and better than anyone else. But really, it's a necessity, as being the fastest one gave you better chances of survival against nature and fellow man, no matter if it was racing with our own feet, animals, or inventions. Even in recent history, we still do. Automobile racing started as soon as the second car left the Ford factory about 120 years ago. Since then, we never stopped. My first ever official race was on August 25th, 2024 at Bushnell Motorsports Park. Up to that point, I had only been doing track days with friends and racers, but didn't actually participate in a race due to my traveling and financial situations at that time. As you guys remember from the previous episode, I was in Japan just before I started racing. And what would be the best first race for a first-timer? A 4-hour endurance race, of course. What better way to improve by diving headfirst into a very difficult setting to race in? Baptism by fire, baby. I almost didn't race this event since I didn't have a bike in one of the 4 allocated classes for racing, nor did I have a team to race with. But luckily, a friend of mine named Micah came through, literally last second, and decided to race with me with zero planning or training. Again, baptism by fire. I called my good mate Griffin to assist us in the race as pit crew. I was able to qualify with a really solid time that put me ahead of the pack. The 4 classes in the race are, from slowest to fastest, stock 125, monkey bike, F1, and F2. The class we ran in was stock 125 on the humble little Honda Grom. Also, shout out to Matt Dex for the spectacular photos and always at every race event. The link to his website will be in the description. Definitely should send him some donations if you enjoy the photos and plan to get a photo of your own taken at SFL Racing in the future. He does it for free at every SFLMiniGP race event. Now, for the part everyone's waiting for, the racing.
My boot is on top.
You don't have a knee boot.
Oh, you made me look.
Alright, we're starting the assault 4-hour average race. Wait, you need a slow race. We got our bikes. We got our racers. Let's go down the line. Boys ready? Yes, sir. You ready? Yeah. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Good? Go. Woo. Go. Yeah, me too. Take that out.
Thank you. You too.
I promise you I want to hang out with Ellen.
Shift, right? Jamie!
Get away from me!
Yes.
Ella, push in gear!
Hey, I'm a Christian!
Jamie, it's in gear!
It's in gear? What?
Start! Just because you're not going to have to put it in gear. I got the clutch. You gotta grab the clutch.
I'm getting in trouble.
Oh, I'm grabbing it.
Okay, yeah.
There's tape on my wheel.
Here we go.
Pat, tuck it in. Right? Yeah. All right, ready?
All right, those of you holding bikes, stay in the grass until all the bikes are gone, okay? All right, the inaugural Aaron Dreyer Memorial Endurance Race. Ready, set, banana. Go, go, go! Go, go, go!
The rear brake pedal came undone through the first stint of the race. Unfortunately, I had to pit in early or else it would just keep scraping the ground every time I turned right.
Micah, the brake lever.
Oh, shit. Oh, fuck. What happened?
It came off.
Oh, fuck. I see it.
After we got it resolved by just deleting the brake pedal entirely, Micah went out to replace me for the second stint of the race. I rested a bit and hydrated as we watched Micah run the second stint. I was quite upset about the shift lever coming off since I was making fabulous time. If I could have gone a few laps more with that pace, we would have been contending for podium finish in the class for sure.
The shifter came off.
What is happening? Oh man, you gotta be careful. You can't beat the shit out of these.
Oh, that's literally just
Oh,
you got a 10 mil wrench?
Oh, but it's busted.
Is it? Jam.
Oh, yeah, come on, yeah, you're right. Yeah, I should have everything. It's coming loose. I had this like lock tight. Well, not on this end, evidently. Yeah, I did.
Man, I was making such good time. Fuck.
Luckily for us, there was a red flag not long after I pitted in, so we didn't lose much time. We got the lever fixed just before we got a green flag to continue the race.
This is R&D.
Micah went out and I rested until my turn. Unfortunately, there was another red flag, and this one was a long one. About 40 minutes of downtime since there was an oil spill from one of the rental bikes. Micah pitted in and I went out.
Damn it! No! Ah. No! Fuck! Ah.
I was devastated. All that hard work put in only for us to DNF. We could have gone back out, but unfortunately, Micah didn't have replacement hardware for the broken parts of the bike. It was heartbreaking. We could have contended for podium finish with our pace. Would have been amazing for a last-minute two-man rider team to pull off.
I wiped out! I low-sided. Yeah, I'm fine.
Oh, shit, you went down?
Yeah, I low-sided. On the bank turn.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. Dude, I was rolling. I was barrel rolling. The foot peg is gone.
Oh, fuck. I don't have another one.
You don't have a spare one?
I don't think so. Oh, wait, maybe I do. I'm guessing I don't have a bolt. That's what it is. And that bolt?
Yeah.
That bolt's actually a replacement. Fuck.
Fuck. So that's it? That's it?
Yeah.
No!
Yeah, it's just bolts.
I was exhausted and watched the remainder of the racing till it was time to go home. Fast forward next month, and it's my first race on my own bike, my old reliable CBR 250. Quite down on power compared to the other bikes in the class, but it's the only thing I have that I can race. This race took place at then Anderson Race Park, which is now called T4 Kartplex. This is an awesome little track here in Florida. If you're around the Tampa and Sarasota area, this is the track to go for all bike guys. Sadly, for my first ever race, it wasn't smooth sailing. When unloading the bike from the trailer rack, I dropped it and offset the front, making the alignment crooked. It would pull to the right a lot, making it difficult to turn right, but made leaning left easier. I was able to fix it after the race when I went home, but it did make it difficult to ride. The 300cc class in SFLMiniGP is the smallest class out of them all. There was only 3 of us this race, so due to our low participation for the class, we sadly got merged with another class since we didn't have enough to race by ourselves due to time constraints. If you have a 300cc bike and live in Florida, please come join these races so we can fill up the class. Anyways, on to the footage. This race was quite underwhelming to say the least. I finished last in the class, but it's important to cover it since it's my second ever race and it was on my own bike. To spare you all the boredom, let's skip to the next race. This race I got to borrow a friend's fully race-prepped R3, which I had used a few times prior on track days, but didn't have much seat time on. This thing is much faster and better than my CBR 250 by a long shot. It revs much higher, and it's a parallel twin as opposed to the low-revving, grunty CBR single. Without warm-up and seat time, it took some laps to get used to riding it on such a tight, small track like Bushnell. Unfortunately, I was in a gear too high in the beginning and nearly clipped the rear wheel of one of the super mini bikes that runs in conjunction to our class, causing me to lose time and falling too far behind the pack to catch up. Another underwhelming race, but not as boring as the previous one. 2025 season starts, and for the first race, we're back at T4 Kartplex with the R3 again. This time we got newcomers to the class, and they're on 400s. Straight up cheating. But because our class is so small, the organizer allows them to compete in the 300s class for attendance and more participation. And until there's enough of us to run by ourselves without the Super Mini class, the 400s will be allowed to race with us. I hate it. I voiced my concerns about it, and it's not going to change. So, oh well. I gear up after getting the call for the heat race, which for those who aren't aware, there are two races, heat and main race. The heat is a short race, about half the laps of the main race, which will determine your grid placement for the main race start. I was super annoyed about the guy cutting me off in a hard to pass turn and completely stuffing me in the turn on the first lap. That ruined my groove, but hey, that's racing for you. Just gotta get good and defend my line next time.
Shit.
Round 2, we're at T4 Kartplex again, and this time I'm on my familiar CBR 250. The R3 I used in the previous race is piloted by the owner of this race. This race has a special twist, reverse layout. It's the first time for everyone using this layout, so I had more of a chance on my low on power 250. And actually, reverse layout is better for it, come to find out. The rider you saw in the beginning crash was completely fine. And for future reference, any riders you see that wipe out are fine. Reversed layout was quite fun and a great change of pace from the standard layout we always run on. Now, we move on to the race I have been eagerly anticipating since the beginning of the season. Gainesville is a special place for me because the track there is the biggest and most fun out of all the other tracks on the calendar. And it's also my hometown. I grew up here for most of my life, so it's familiar grounds for me while also being the most fun racetrack. I love coming here because I get to hang out with longtime friends and family friends. The food, culture, and things to do in Gainesville are super nice. It's also rich with drag racing history too. On top of having the University of Florida here, definitely should give Gainesville a visit if you're visiting Florida or plan to travel somewhere here in the state. This is my first race using the Ninja 250 that my buddy Griffin has built for us to advertise the motor shop he recently opened while racing. I have barely any seat time on this bike since it has been plagued with issues every time we tested it on a track day. We've been going back and forth with the carbs to get the tuning right.
Oh, this bike feels weird.
So, I'm on an unfamiliar bike on a track I've never been on yet. At this point, everyone should be familiar that I am a baptism by fire kind of person. The day before the race, I participated in the open practice to get familiar with the track. I was using my CBR 250 in the meantime while Griffin was still preparing the Ninja 250 for the following day. Got to get a little familiar with the track layout and almost high-sided myself on the last lap of my practice session. My CBR were on Sport Touring Michelin tires and already has had tons of street miles, track, and race miles put on it. Safe to say that they're done for. Used them for 2024 season and up until that point, half of the 2025 season. Ever since then, I have retired the CBR from racing duty since it's not a competitive bike at all for its class, especially when half the grid are on 400s. From now on, it will just be a seat time bike used for drills and training. When Griffin dropped off the bike in the afternoon, there was still carb work that needed to be done. I was already too tired from the day to work on I slept early, right at sunset, to get started early for the next day. Woke up at 4 in the morning to work on the carbs. Outside, in the dark, in a forest, with nothing but my phone and headlamp for light. Real mechanic type shit. Got the thing back together and went back to sleep to catch some rest before the big day.
fucking died. It just died after I crossed the finish line. Dude, it's been losing power on the last lap.
Really?
Yeah. Holy shit.
Carbs was having issues with getting enough fuel through the fuel line, as well as having a lot of sediment still built up inside despite the several times we have taken it apart and cleaned it. Griffin changed the coolant and drained the carbs of all that nasty fuel that was inside of it. Now, I have a funny story as to why there isn't footage of the main race. While waiting for our group to be called, I had to take a stinking poopy in a big stinky porta potty in the middle of Florida summer. It was horrible and I was in there for a while trying not to die. Our group had a final call and I was still inside. I finished as quickly as possible and geared up so fast I didn't even have time to properly fasten my boots nor turn on my camera. The race started without me and I joined in from pit exit. I wasn't going to be anywhere close to podium finish anyways, so I wasn't really too sad about it. And I didn't finish dead last at least. This will always be a funny story for my racing career, as I had almost missed a race because of nature call. We're back at Bushnell again for round 5, and this is the final race that I participated in the 2025 season of SFL due to financial constraints and not having a bike to ride. I was actually not going to do this race if it wasn't for my mother that lent me her Ninja 300. Now, this is not at all set up for track use whatsoever. Completely a street bike without any fancy mods. Everything aside from the clip-ons and brake hoses are stock. And worse yet, she has very hard touring tires on it that will absolutely not be able to handle the track abuse. They are Bridgestone BT46s. They would get greasy and cause me to low side, or worse, high side. So came the logistical nightmare of finding tires for it on such short notice. Griffin was unavailable for the event due to work, and the Ninja wasn't fixed yet since Gainesville. George, or as we call him, Grandfather, lent me a Pirelli front, but didn't have one for the rear. On top of searching for tires, I also had to ride this bike 80 miles round trip for this event due to me not having a trailer or car to use. Man, it seems every race I always have the odds stacked against me. However, I still persevered and made it to Bushnell. Seth, the shock doc, was there and I was able to rent a rear slick from. There's also another issue with the Ninja, in that whenever you're in second gear, it has a tendency to fall into neutral. This was bad because Bushnell is a primarily second gear track on 300s. So I either had to redline first everywhere or stay in third. I had to come to terms that I wasn't going to be able to be competitive in this race. On top of it having this issue, I still have to ride this back home after the race, so I absolutely could not wreck it. Plus, it's my mother's bike that I had spent 6 months restoring, complete engine rebuild and new fairings. I was not at all interested in breaking it and having to pay and fix it all over again. But again, another unfortunate thing happened. Man, I should just rename this series to Unfortunate Series of Racing Events. When doing the practice laps, the front brakes were fading fast. And on the second lap, I almost crashed going off the track because I couldn't brake. Had to use all rear brake and engine braking to slow down. I stopped in the grass just before the barrier. I had to pit in after just 2 laps, and I was frustrated that no matter what I did, I could never get a good race. After I pitted in, I had thrown in the towel for the day, but Grandfather came through again and fixed my brakes. He's an absolute MVP in our community. He gave me motivation to continue for the day and encouraged me to not give up so easily.
You're going down, old man! You're going down, old man!